All right, we have video section 9.7. We're talking about discounts, markups, tax, and tips. So I think percentages are one of the most useful things. You always get the question of when will I ever need to use this? Well, you normally almost use percentages practically every day, so it's a good thing to be able to know how to use them. We just have kind of some examples where we're using. There's not a whole lot of formulas or anything like that. We're just going to put this to practical use. So our first example here is dealing with a discount. And so if you buy a skateboard that's 15% off the original price of $130, how much are you going to pay for that sale price? And so again, we're going to be using this almost always from here on out. You're going to be using percentages as decimals, just kind of a little FYI in case you haven't figured that out by now. And so basically, if you would take the decimal version of that percentage, which is 0.15, times the original price, that is going to give you how much money you're going to be saving, but it's not going to give you what you're actually going to be paying. So if you would take 130 times 0.15, that's going to give you $19.50. So that's how much money you're going to save, which is good, but you want to know how much cash do you actually need to have. So obviously, since it's a sale, you're going to take that 130, subtract how much money you get to save, and that will give you a final answer of $110.50. So that'd be an example of where you could use percentages on sale price. So basically you just take whatever the sale is, multiply it by the original amount. That's going to give you how much money you saved. You need to then take that savings and take it away from the original price to figure out how much money you're actually going to pay. All right, so that would be an example of how to figure out a discount. A markup is the opposite of a discount. Now, you would obviously never buy things at a markup, but stores mark things up all the time. They can buy things cheaper and then they want to make money, so they will mark them up a certain percentage so they can make a profit. So if a store buys silver necklaces at a wholesale price of $22 and marks them up 40%, how much do you actually have to pay when you go in there? Same process here. So if we would take our percentage as a decimal, of course, which would be 0.40, and multiply it by the original price, that's going to tell us how much more we have to pay than what the store has to pay. And so if we would take 0.4 times $22, that's going to give us $8.80. And again, that's how much more we have to pay. That does not give us the actual total amount. So just like we did before, except since it's a markup, we're going to take 22 plus 8.80, which would give us a final answer. We have to pay $30.80 for our necklace if we want to buy it. So again, that would be an example of markup. Take the percentage times the original amount. That's going to give you how much more you have to pay than what the store had to pay. And you're going to tack that onto the original, and since it's a markup, we're going to add instead of subtract like we did up here. Now, the most useful thing, I think, is using percentages for tipping. Because as you get older and you go to restaurants and you have to pay for stuff by yourself, if you sit down, you got to leave a tip. Now, the standard minimum tip amount, assuming the server does a good job, is a 15% tip of whatever the meal costs. So if a waiter works at a really expensive restaurant, they're going to make more money than someone that maybe works at Denny's or something. Okay. Now, also, you have to keep in mind of your sales tax. Right now, I think it actually is 7%, but we'll use this old example of 6%. So you need to add in your percentage tip and your sales tax. So something that looks like it's only going to cost $8 is actually going to cost a little bit more than that. So the same way we did the other stuff, we're going to find out what percentage 15 is of 8 and 6 is of 8, and then have to add that back on to original price. So we need to take 0.15, which is the amount of tip we're going to leave, times 8, and after you do that. And again, a calculator for this whole unit is going to be very valuable to you, as I'm using mine right now. So you would need to leave that person, the waiter or waitress, $1.20 if you're going to be a good tipper and tip 15%. Okay. Now let's also go ahead and figure out how much tax will be added on to our $8 meal. So 6% is 0.06, not 0.6, 0.06 times our price. And if we take 0.06 times our price, that's going to give us 48 cents. Okay, so those are the extra things that we need to add on to our total, and you might see this on a receipt somewhere. Our total bill now is whatever our food costs. Okay, so this was our meal. This was 6% tax that's going to go to the city government normally. And then this would be the tip. And so once you add all of that in, you're going to get your total. So obviously, we'll just go ahead and add all these up, and you can get $9.68 is going to be what you end up owing someone. All right, let's look at this one last example here. If you buy a sandwich and a drink at a sandwich shop for $8.78, you want to leave a tip of, let's say, 20%. Which of the following is the tip you want to leave? All right, so again, this is just a tip. They aren't asking for you to give the total amount you have to pay, just how much you're going to pay the waiter. So we would need to take the percentage of the tip we're going to leave, which is 0.2. We got that from there. Multiplied by our meal amount, which is $8.78. And calculate that out, which is 0.2 times 878. Which is about, it doesn't quite even out, but it's roughly as closest to one of our answers here. It actually comes out to 1756, but that is closest to C. So you need to leave about $1.75 to give this person a 20% tip. And tomorrow when we talk about this, we're going to talk about how you can do some of this work in your head. I know all of you guys like to show as little work as possible, so there is a way where you don't actually have to scratch this out on the receipt every time you want to try to leave a proper tip. So we'll talk about some of that stuff tomorrow.